And there we go. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this evening's installment of Connecting Families at the Federation for Children with Special Needs. We are so excited to have you here. Tonight, we are going to be going through your guide to free transition services and self-directed stipends. You know, anytime I hear free and money, I get very excited. I don't know about you. So a few housekeeping things before we get started. If you are in need of interpretation services, we will be putting a link in the chat so that you will be able to select the interpretation language that you will need. So please be sure to look in that in Wordly. It's in there now, the second one down, so that you can select that as well. We have three fabulous speakers with us this evening, and they're going to do their presentation, and then after that, we will be open for questions. So if you have questions along the way, you're welcome to put them in the chat so that we can keep track of that. And of course, as you know, if you've ever participated in one of our sessions before, any questions we're not able to get to this evening, we will, of course, have them noted in the chat, and we will respond to and upload the responses to them along with the recording and the PowerPoint presentation. All right, so a little bit about what we're going to talk about tonight. You know, I'll bet some of you may know somebody who's aged out of special education in 2020 or after. And you might have missed out on some vital services, but actually it's not too late to get some supports. So tonight we're going to talk about the eligibility of how to kind of determine the eligibility for young adults to access free services. My favorite four-letter word, free, and financial assistance through coordinated pandemic-related transition services funded through DESE. And this initiative connects young adults with free additional services from trusted Massachusetts agencies and provides stipends to support transition-related needs like job coaching, assistive technology, PCAs, and even things like cooking lessons. So tonight we're going to discover how this impactful collaboration between DESE and the Federation and organizations like MAICEI, DDS, the Mass Commission for the Blind, and MassAbilities is transforming lives by ensuring transition-related services are available and affordable. And together, we're committed to ensuring that no one gets left behind. So whether you're a parent looking for resources for your young adult or a professional looking for a guide on how to guide youth and families on critical support, we're really excited that you're here to learn about this amazing opportunity and to be able to make a real difference in the lives of these young people. Our presenters are all Federation staff tonight. First, we have Ingrid Atversen, who is the manager of the statewide information center at the Federation. We also have Dennis Baker, who is our information specialist here at the Federation. And then we also have Naya Montiero, who is the Mass Health Certified Application Counselor, an information specialist, and a school navigation specialist. That's a lot. That's a mouthful.
Yeah.
At the Federation. She's got a lot going on over there, Naya. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, if you need interpretation services, the link for that is in the chat. Please feel free to add questions to the chat, and we'll look forward to addressing as many as we possibly can. And with all of that said, I am now going to pass the baton on to the one and only Ingrid. Take it away, Ingrid.
Thank you so much, Beth. Can everyone see me? Someone said they didn't see me on camera.
No, camera's off.
Dennis is saying no. Okay. I can see myself on screen. Okay. Great.
Yeah.
I will get started then. Welcome, everyone. We're so excited to see you all and have you all here. This is a project that is very near and dear to our hearts. Dennis and I specifically have been working on this project for over 2 years now, and it has developed and shifted and morphed into something that we're here to present tonight, something very exciting. So can everyone see the slides? Now that I'm pinned, I can't. So let's just make sure we have the PowerPoint up.
Is it showing?
All set.
Wonderful. Thank you. So the first slide really says it all. We don't want you to miss out. This is about, as Beth mentioned, pandemic-related transition services. So it's very specific to a very specific population throughout the Massachusetts. So we're going to talk about that and to see who is eligible for this. So next slide, Naya. So a little bit about the Federation, our aspiration, and we've been working on this, and our mission and our goals have been updated. So I'm not sure if this is new to people, but together we are building an inclusive world where every child and young adult experiences belonging and can participate equitably in life's opportunities. Our mission is we empower families, engage diverse communities, and eliminate barriers to improve life outcomes for all children and young adults, especially those with disabilities. Next slide. So what we do, this picture, we were all excited about this picture this morning in reviewing our slides because this was just last week. We are really involved. We're in and out of communities all across the state. We do workshops. We have our information line, which is our information center team, and that's something that Naya and Dennis and I are all part of with other folks. And we serve about 6,000 calls a year, both with families, parents, professionals. So give us a call if you have any questions after this presentation or any questions in general. If we don't have the answer, we will get you to the person who does have the answer. We also help families navigate systems. Beth mentioned Naya working with Mass Health, and she has become a certified person to help fill out applications for families who are looking to get on Mass Health. We train community leaders. We host annual conferences, connecting families to really build support amongst our communities. So next slide.
Okay, and this brings us to the pandemic-related transition services. So this was started 2 years ago. In the fall of 2022, lawmakers got together and realized that the specific age range of students who aged out of a 22-year-old transition program during the pandemic had missed out on a lot of opportunities for transitioning into adulthood. So you can see from here, this is a very specific age range who qualifies. So two ways to think about it. Anybody who turned 22 and aged out of a transition program between March 10th, 2020 and September 30th, 2023. Those birth dates correspond to March 10th, 1998 and September 30th, 2001. So again, a program to provide transition services, all extra, all free to the students who fit these eligibility requirements. And as an added piece of information, there are 3,000 families across the state who are eligible for this. And the most we know is where they're located. So for example, we know there are 250 families in Boston eligible for this, but now we need to find who they are. Next slide, please. What is available? So there are a few different things available, but what I would like to highlight right now and what Ingrid had referenced earlier is the newest part of these services, which are direct support, youth stipends, and service vouchers that are part of the funding that came from the state, and DESE is funding the families through the Federation for Children with Special Needs. So we are going to talk a lot about what that means, what it looks like, how to access the stipends. But in addition to the stipends, and I mentioned they are the newest part of this project, there are other state agencies providing services that can be accessed for this age range. And those, we will talk more about those, but those are the Department of Developmental Services, MassAbility, which recently was known as Massachusetts Rehab Commission, and the MAICEI College Program. Next slide, please. So I really like this slide because of its simplicity. This is talking about the direct support stipends that we have been funding families, and it's a hand giving out money, and this might be a little oversimplistic, but one of our goals with this was to have this be an easy and simple process to families. And I think we've done a pretty good job of that so far. Next slide, please. These are the direct youth stipends. So what I'd like to talk about here is in May, we were given $15,000 from DESE to create a pilot program to directly fund families who are eligible for these services. And it was very successful. In less than 2 months, we funded $15,000 to over 50 families. And additionally, we also accumulated a wait list of over 100 families who qualified for this program and who would have liked the funding themselves. That was a pilot program. We have since proved the success. The families have given us great feedback. So now we have been given a larger sum to distribute on a more consistent basis. So as of now, we have a wait list of 100 families that we are currently going through. So far this week, we have funded 20 families for close to $12,000. I do understand that there are some people on the wait list who might have heard about this training in this session tonight and said, "Oh, I'm on a wait list. I would, I didn't know about this training." We are prioritizing the people who are already on our wait list, and we're making our way through them. So we are going as fast as we can. We've been making calls. So if you're currently on our wait list, we are going to get to you as soon as possible. Next slide, please. So what has been nice about having the pilot program and what we were able to advocate to DESE, and I think it was successful in helping us get more funding, is these are what the stipends have been used to support. Just some of the things that the young adults have been missing. I won't read the whole list here, but I will say what is unique about this opportunity with the direct stipends as opposed to some of the other services is that this lets parents decide. We heard a lot of feedback from parents who knew what their young adult needed, and this allows them the freedom to go out and acquire those services. And additionally, it allows them to keep their young adult and the money within the community, creating a meaningful tie. And as we talk a little bit further, some of the other services which are available, which are very meaningful and successful, just might not have the local ties. So we were really happy to provide the freedom to parents and families, and then keeping everything locally. And in addition to things that are on here, there are many more possibilities and options. We are open to anything that would qualify. And when I talk about the ease, or one of the things that we wanted to try to not burden families with, or just make one more hurdle, we're not requiring receipts or documentation about these, whatever this money is spent on. We will talk about the process of how we go about sending out the checks, and we will collect data about what they're used. But this is, very, very flexible. Okay, next slide, please.
So this slide here talks about how can you request a youth stipend. First, we have to start with an intake. And so here you have our intake form. I'm actually going to drop it into the chat right there. So that's a link to go to the intake form. And basically, we're just asking for your basic information. so that we know who you are and what it is that you're looking for. And all the way down the bottom, there's a box. And there you could say youth stipend or whatever other necessary item that you want to put there, be it Matt's house, anything else. So in that link, you put that you're interested in the youth stipend program, and we will then reach out to you. And from there, we'll do a whole eligibility confirmation that is getting to know you, getting to know your young adult, their age, how they do in school, what are the necessary items that they still need in their lives due to them not having the services that they missed out on due to COVID. And so from there, we'll be able to figure out what are the vendors or where will they be receiving these services and how much does it cost? And from there, we'll estimate the cost.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, Felicia.
Hi, I was like, I got a call from somebody yesterday about this same thing with the youth stipend.
Yes, that was me.
Oh, that was you?
Yeah,
Okay.
nice to meet you. You could go ahead and mute yourself, and right after
Okay.
we'll have a question session. Good to see
Okay.
you, Felicia.
So Naya has been very helpful on the front lines of answering all the calls that have taken place with this, and the information we're gathering is just data to provide back to DESE and anybody to just show what parents are looking for and what they're spending this on. Like I said, we're going to collect the data, but we're not going to be asking, you're not going to have to prove that you did spend it on, what we talked about. And additionally, although if we had the manpower, we would, but we're not able to, we're not able to find the services for the families. Now, that being said, we have connections in different areas of the state who, cultural broker types who, if families are wondering what the money can be spent on, we can connect and try to support as much as possible in that regard. So about these stipends, and everything about this project, all the services we talk about through the agencies and these stipends, these are all extra and compensatory, and they will only add to whatever services are being accessed right now. This is all done in isolation and separation. This won't affect any type of DDS flex funding or any other type of funding that might be available through agencies. And because this is a new initiative, it has been confusing for some of the parents and some of the agencies. And because of that, and that's really nobody's fault, it's just a new initiative. Sometimes parents have been given conflicting information about what our stipend, and I say us, but it's DESE's stipend funded through us. Sometimes the parents have received conflicting information. So don't worry. We've had reports, feedback from parents that they've reached out to maybe one of their service coordinators in an agency and they didn't know about it. So they were a little skeptical. But I'm not surprised just because this is so new. So this is all, again, and we'll do our best to communicate. We've collaborated excellent with all the agencies so far. But if you do hear from the agencies anything that this does take out of a flex funding or other services, that is not true. These are all separate and entirely free and compensatory. Next slide, please. So just quickly, this is some of the feedback we gathered from our pilot time in the spring. And one of the things, like I said, we wanted to make this as easy as possible for parents. And I think we were able to do that. The turnaround time although that depends on the volume of calls. But once checks are actually, applications are processed and everything has been taken care of, we've heard that it is a very fairly quick and painless process. Next slide, please.
Excuse me.
So again, more feedback, and this is when Ingrid spoke kind of about what we do in the beginning. I think this type of attitude, this permeates throughout our whole organization. We try to make, a personal connection and have compassion and understanding, spend as much time as we need to provide assistance and support. But one of the things that I realized is that although I didn't have a child that was involved in any state agencies, through this project, I've realized how challenging it can be to navigate many of those things. So we strove for a simplified process and also more of a warm personal touch to support families. And I think we have done an excellent job of that with our team. Next slide, please. So now I'd like to talk about the extra services, the services that are provided from the state agencies. These will be broken down by agency, and these services have been in place since about late fall of 2022 as part of this, and they're still available for qualifying families. Next slide, please. One thing, and I'm just hammering this home, I figure repetition with free services. These are all free of cost from the state agencies. So the three state agencies, which we'll talk about individually, are DDS, MassAbility, which was formerly MRC. So DDS focuses on the social groups, MassAbilities, vocational and career training, and the MAICEI program that allows colleges with autism and intellectual and developmental disabilities to attend college. Next slide, please. So the Department of Developmental Services they provide social groups, and I'm going to talk about this on the next slide, but I'm assuming that many of you are familiar with DDS and what they offer, how they support families. We do have some more information about that on our website, our landing page for this if necessary, but the qualifications for this, so the global qualifications for families are those age range, the age out or birthday range. But additionally for DDS, families, if they're not eligible already, would have to go through the eligibility process. So next slide, please. Oh, thank you. So these are some of the groups that have been accessed and started so far. So these groups that meet, they are meeting on nights and weekends, and they're available to be tailored to specific interests and could be skills. These are some of the groups that have been accessed by some of the families that reached out to us. And groups can also be started. And I think there's more information on the next slide about, I think you can go on to that one, Naya.
Okay.
So yes, what constitutes a group? So two people constitute a group. If two people have a similar interest, they should be able to approach one of the family support centers participating and ask about starting a group for that interest. It's also our idea going forward that we can connect families who show interest in all of or any of these services, and they might have the ability to collaborate and find some common interests or hobbies or skills, and then collaborate with the Family Support Center about starting a group. Now, again, this doesn't affect any funding that they're receiving. I will say that, so there are 16 or 17 out of the 52 family support centers in the state who participate in this portion of the project. So it's very possible that a family might be connected to a local family support center that does not participate in this project. So I just want to, again, that speaks to parents maybe reaching out to a or facility and them not knowing because they are not taking part in this. So to find out, I do have a list. We have a list of all the areas of the state that have participating family support centers. So we'll be happy to make that connection to families who call. And I would just like to say that I was able to witness one of the groups that took place at Seven Hills in Worcester last summer, and it was a musical jam session, and there were 25 young adults with their families, and it was a big, a woman leading sing-alongs. We all had shakers, and there was a karaoke session. It was really, really fun. It was like the most fun thing I did all summer. So those types of things, I really hope can happen more through this project. Next slide, Naya.
My turn. So MassAbilities was previously Massachusetts Rehabilitation Commission, MRC, and they offer careers and employment services for adults with disabilities, young adults as well. Adults who qualify for MassAbilities services and epidemic-related transition services may be eligible for extra MassAbilities support as well. And that's also depending on the area you live in. So right now there's two options. One that's available for everyone in the state, and the other is a pilot program for about 119 cities and towns in Massachusetts. But as I said, depends on where you live. Now, sorry, next slide. Next Gen Careers and Vocational Services through MassAbility. Services are available in most areas. Services may include vocational counseling, guidances, and coaching, job placement, as well as leadership opportunities. Now, Next Gen is available in about 119 of the 300 towns in Massachusetts with this program, and the cities listed and the cities listed above, actually, including the surrounding towns, are one of the main cities that kind of has these programs and that are available. But we have details of other towns, other cities, and all you have to do is just reach out to us, and we can connect you with the MassAbility office near you.
So I just want to follow up. I know there's a lot of information here, and looking at things that might be available, and for some of the big agencies. Now there are 3,000 students and young adults who are eligible for this, but I think in the big picture that's a very small amount. So we would encourage families who would like to know more about this or just be connected with somebody to reach out to us. And it could be we'll show our intake form, our 1-800 number. So any confusion or any further information that's necessary, or just wanting to know, because I have, and Naya, we have specific people at contacts at each of these agencies to refer to. So feel free to reach out to us, and we can help with that.
It'll be a warm handoff,
Absolutely.
as you say.
So the next state agency that is participating is the MAICEI, college inclusive program, and it offers students with autism and developmental and intellectual disabilities to participate in college. This has been eye-opening for me. I didn't know a lot about this program, and we were able to visit. Ingrid and myself and some of the team members were able to visit Bridgewater State, which is the flagship campus for MAICEI, with Mary Price, the director, and it was a wonderful experience. We interviewed a couple students, but we sat and talked, and the very first thing the student said who lived on campus, they have the ability for residential life, is he found where the party dorm was right away. And it was just really fun to talk to him. And we saw students present their some final projects. But the interesting thing about MAICEI has a lot of options. Classes can be audited for experience. They could be taken for credit and work towards a degree. There are academic coaches that go into the classroom with the students. The students have peer and social supports outside of the classroom to get involved in campus activities and social events. And there are a number of campuses across the state. And I know Western Mass is an area that is often services aren't as plentiful out as they are in the rest of the state, but I know UMass Amherst, Holyoke Community College, and Westfield State has a really tremendous MAICEI program. So again, anybody interested in that, and you can just call if you don't know if it's a good fit. You can give us a call, and I'll be happy to pass your name along to Mary Price, and they can have a conversation to try to support. And that actually reminds me of something else. So now I talked about eligibility before. So we have spoken to families that will call, and it turns out they're not eligible for whatever reason,
Yeah.
birth date, qualifications. But we
I
have
I'm sorry. I was like, I have a question about this because
can
it's
we
like,
just hold on to those questions
okay,
if
Dennis.
thank you. We have the ability to refer within our department to other, in organization to other departments. So although we might not be able to support in this specific project, we can support and, hand off to other departments in our organization that
Or you could still take
can.
part in this, and then we could still connect you with the other departments depending on your needs. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. So, I think next
Oops, excuse me.
slide.
Council Contact Agency.
So again, this is and this is information. We have a landing page on our website that has a lot of what I talked about for the specific information for agencies. It has contact to reach out directly to those agencies, but also we are, I would say, one of the quickest way maybe to get your name into some of these other, into these contacts. And I would also like to say all of these agencies and everything are operating individually within this. So there's just to make that point, you won't get a lot of information about the other services unless you call that agency itself. And next slide, Naya. I think, and again, this is just, you can go through this. You have options, multiple options, our stipend funding and what is available through the remaining agencies. Next slide, please. Again, won't impact anything currently being received, all compensatory, all extra, all free of charge. And then Naya, we could just take, you could, the
The
next
next slide.
slide. Yep.
All right. This is my expertise languages. So as you can see, we can answer and support families in all languages. We not only have language line, but we also have those here within the Federation that speak all these languages that you see here: Spanish, Portuguese, Haitian Creoles, French, Chinese, Vietnamese, and more. And we service all regions. We are servicing Metro West, Cambridge, Malden, Medford, Western Mass regions, Fall River, like Cape Cod. We're everywhere, and we can help just about anyone. And so we're hoping that we're able to reach out to more families of different diversities, so that we can let them know that the service is here for them as well. And so hopefully that the word gets out there. And the next slide. So again, this is how we can help. You can either go onto our website, our WEN website, and on there you can see all the services that the Federation offers. But you can also go right into our intake form and request that we reach out to you because you're interested in the stipend program for your young adults. And from there, you also have our 1-800 number. It's a toll-free number. You can call and leave a message to talk to either myself,
Can I
Ingrid, or
talk to you guys
Dennis.
afterwards?
Definitely, yes.
After this is done?
Yes,
Well,
yeah,
sure, you could
I will
follow up
call
with an
you.
email.
I'll reach out to you. I'll give you a call. Sounds
Okay,
good?
it was good meeting you, Dennis.
Thank
We
you.
spoke a,
Nice.
we spoke a couple of times. And we spoke yesterday, Miss Material.
Yes.
We
Uh,
spoke yesterday.
yes, I'll give you a call right after this. I have you on my roster. And so, yes, thank you so much for coming. And Dennis, I guess we can open up some questions, or is there anything else you'd
I
like to add?
think, no, I think that takes care of everything.
Cool. Okay. Um,
So
yeah,
there are a couple of
So,
questions in the chat. If you want to stop sharing, Naya,
I'm
we
gonna go ahead and
can
do that.
take a look at the questions that are in the chat.
There we go.
So I know Felicia has had her hand up for quite some time. And
Yes, she
so,
has.
Felicia, if you want to ask your question.
We need to stop recording as well.
Yes, please.